Okay, today's a bit of a complicated video, but let me start with this. Dead internet theory, which is a two-part claim asserting that one, the internet has been taken over by artificially generated content, with bot interactions vastly outnumbering any human component still active within it, and two, this was done deliberately by state actors for nefarious purposes. That theory is becoming true, at least half true. Not that it's super important for today, but the origin of this theory is rather difficult to fully pinpoint. One of the earliest examples we know of is a post by a user named Illuminati Pirate on a website forum called Agora Road's Macintosh Cafe, with an outline of what the theory purports to be happening. But after the term was signal boosted by various YouTube videos or mainstream publications even, like The Atlantic, the term dead internet theory became a very well-known online conspiracy. Expanding on what that theory actually says, the half that I believe to be increasingly accurate, I should say, it goes a little something like this. Google and other large search engines out there have become sort of like Potemkin villages, which is an old Russian phrase referencing a village that was constructed just to impress Catherine the Great, but had no legitimate buildings. A Potemkin village was just an outward facade, built to give the illusion of depth with no actual content. And much the same way a two-dimensional piece of wood can be painted to resemble a three-dimensional construct, search engines are being dressed up as deeply immersive tools, while the true content that they serve is just a tiny fraction of what is claimed. On top of the fact that the content they serve is now majority synthetic. Just to add, the second half of this theory is where I personally draw the line. If you don't, that's fine, but I don't necessarily believe that government forces are nefariously pushing some sort of anti-human online internet agenda. I think it's more so just a problem of human greed that's responsible for all this. But for the purpose of today's video, I want to make the argument that the first half of the dead internet theory, if not true already, is rapidly becoming true, with very few adequate countermeasures in place to stop it. Don't get me wrong, there are some countermeasures in place. I'll even have evidence of that in real time later on in this very video, but the overall trend that we see is completely skewed. So much so that entire Google search trends are now being primarily driven by self-perpetuating dead internet theory content. Let's get into it. My primary example for the day is going to revolve around Elon Musk, Tesla, and two very fictional but highly visible online products. To be clear, before anyone complains in the comment section, I dislike Elon Musk and his various businesses for a bunch of personal reasons. But this really doesn't have anything to do with that, because while his name, brand, and certainly his face are part of the subject matter, it's not because of any decision he's making. It's because the dead internet theory machine has identified these two products, which don't exist, as a perfect vehicle for profit. I would go so far as to say it's an entire cottage industry, actually, but ultimately I'll leave that part up to the viewers. First up, example number one is the Tesla phone, and this is where I have to draw a timeline. Bear with me. Elon Musk actually has mentioned the concept of a Tesla phone on more than one occasion, but only through a lens of it's probably never happening. The most prominent and recent examples that I could find personally are these. October 22nd, 2024, published by The Standard, referencing a town hall, in which he said, quote, when asked about the phone, "That's a lot of work. The idea of making a phone makes me want to die. But if we have to make a phone, we will. But we will aspire not to make a phone." End quote. Seems pretty definitive to me, sure, but there's also an appearance on Joe Rogan, November 4th of 2024, where he explicitly states, "We're not doing a phone," with an added description of how they potentially could do a phone from a technical perspective, but they're not, and they won't ever unless some sort of extenuating circumstances arise with Apple and Samsung. Essentially, Elon Musk has not done or said anything to give credit to the concept of a Tesla phone. And yet, the concept of a Tesla phone is a proliferating online content subject. Let's put the comments in context here. This is the Google search interest graph for Tesla phone over the past 12 calendar months. Musk made his comments on October 22nd and November 4th, or thereabouts. But if we look at the search interest, the number of people searching for Tesla phone on Google had already massively increased well before October 22nd, and seemingly went significantly down during and around the time of his Joe Rogan appearance. That's kind of strange. Making things a bit more complicated, there is a company called Tesla that manufactures phones, as well as home appliances and other small electronics, but this company has no correlation to Elon Musk and has existed for many years. It seemingly has no impact, nor could have any impact, on Google Trends. This left me with a question. Why is it that search interest for the term Tesla phone is seemingly ballooning or contracting without any mainstream coverage of the topic whatsoever, as the founder in question explicitly denies that the company is working on or likely will ever work on that kind of product. And how does that make any sense at all? Well, it doesn't make sense until you consider the dead internet theory, the amended version at least, where a substantial and growing part of the online world is synthetic content created solely for the purpose of advertising, with a dwindling number of human participants involved. Let me explain. See, as I made this video, which has been in the works for a while, one of my primary examples I ended up using, or was going to use, was this channel right here, Tech Central. Yeah, Tech Central had hundreds of videos spread out across the past, long time, and dozens of those videos correspond in subject matter and time frame with the Google trend for Tesla phone. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you think about it, this channel got terminated by YouTube right in the middle of my video process, which was simultaneously a good thing to see and also irritating for the purpose of making content. It was a really good example, is what I mean. However, because the issue is getting so big, it's not like I had to struggle here in finding more, so let's move on to this. This is another channel called Garage Head, posting close to 1,000 videos of all sorts of different subjects. But just like Tech Central, which is now suspended, they had a particular focus on Tesla phones. Here's one from October 12th, 42,000 views, titled, "Just Happened, Elon Musk's $100 phone finally hitting the market." Obviously that's not true, but we need more examples. Here's another one, October 22nd, 32,000 views. Elon Musk's $100 Tesla phone with Starlink connection finally for sale. Again, explicitly not true. It's a 23-minute video, very slight edits from the one we looked at previously, entirely voiced over by AI, and it's only the tip of the iceberg. November 2nd, it happened. Elon Musk's new $100 Tesla phone destroys Apple. November 28th with 56,000 views. Elon Musk just revealed Tesla's new $100 phone finally hitting the market. 1 day ago, Elon Musk just announced Tesla's new $100 phone, and the list goes on. It's an entire content pipeline, but let me go further. Here's a channel called Voyager, 500,000 subscribers, posting 1.7 thousand videos so far, with AI-generated voice and subject matter like this. October 10th, 80,000 views. Elon Musk, Tesla's new Pi phone beats iPhone 16 in every way. Or how about this? Tesla phone Model Pi unboxing 6 days ago, when the product that they are supposedly unboxing doesn't exist. And I could keep going for quite a long time with a list of channels, collectively millions of subscribers, holding many, many thousands of videos, promoting something that isn't real, with AI voiceover and extremely similar visuals. Some people see that, obviously, and think, who cares, big deal, doesn't matter, but let's put these videos on the timeline. During, before, and still after the search term interest, I should say, for Tesla phone exploded on Google Trends, dozens of channels were producing hundreds of videos, collectively getting hundreds of thousands of views, all advertising that a $100 Tesla phone had just been released. Having already established that Elon Musk's own comments likely had nothing to do with the sudden explosion of search term interest, and that these videos were being propagated heavily before those comments were even made, where did those searches come from? Answer: they came from the dead internet, because edited content promoting products that don't exist got heavily propagated by a network of AI slop channels, which in turn directly influenced Google's trending searches, with an unknown but material impact on how the search engine then serves content to other real people, aka dead internet theory in action. Just to drive it home, let's take our second Tesla product, the tiny house in this case, and show the same thing. Over the past 12 months, search term interest for Tesla house on Google Trends has spiked once, end of October to mid-November, and during that time, I could find hardly anything having to do with Tesla or houses anywhere online. In fact, the only legitimate mention of Tesla and tiny house really in the same sentence together appears to be an Australian concept prototype where they used a tiny house to showcase Powerwall, a completely separate product. And yet, search term interest for Tesla house is dramatically rising now, years later. Why? This is why. Just like with the phones, there's a network of channels, AI voiced, though some of them are getting pretty good and it's hard to tell, machine gunning content into the feed, which is completely fake. The same channel I talked about previously, or was going to talk about before it got suspended, Tech Central, was also doing this on dates like October 30th and November 4th, even mere hours before it got suspended. But so were these channels, Atom Tech, with over 600 videos, just like Tech Central, similar timing, similar subjects, and dozens of them focused on this non-existent, sometimes $10,000 house, sometimes $6,000 tiny house, with more and more examples in tow. How about this one? Morrow. Now, apparently Donald Trump is involved with the tiny houses, which was posted 2 weeks ago. Or this one, from November 6th. $10,000 net zero Tesla home for market. Awesome. Here's another one. Core electrical engineering, which appears to be just getting started on YouTube, not much traction yet, but still has over 100 videos, AI voiceover, manipulated footage, and titles like this. $5,000 Tesla tiny house will change housing forever. Here's another one. Electric. Apparently now the house is $30,000, which was posted October 29th with over 120,000 views. And if you flash back to that Google Trends graph, suddenly we see the connection. This flood of AI content aimed at Tesla houses originated before, during, and after the search term spike, appearing to indicate that the dead internet content machine is achieving a scale, even when talking about smaller topics like this, that is directly impacting Google search terms. Best case scenario, though I see no evidence of this whatsoever, the dead internet content machine is operating in a parasitic way with actual news announcements. Something happens, some big announcement, they pile on board and leech ad views, but at worst, which is far more likely in my opinion, the dead internet content machine is large enough now to where it just picks something conducive, in this case Elon Musk, because of high interest in a public figure, the cult-like fan base, and two products that are kinda maybe plausible, but not really, floods YouTube and other platforms with content, and then creates the spike in Google search interest as a result of that. Here's the thing, that's still just one layer, because I know people are going to brush it off, but there's another angle in play here where the advertising on these videos is very often deep-faked content of celebrities promoting various products. 404 Media had a really good piece about this, which showcased multiple of these ads, all coming from a singular identity-verified Google advertising account, which has since taken everything down, obviously, but was previously running over 300 of these ad types. And they showcase that not only is the content fake, AI generated, false premise, false product, etc., the advertising is fake, with celebrities being manipulated with AI in order to sell you things on the video, where a celebrity's product that doesn't exist is now being used to attract enough attention to manipulate search terms. As a side note, there's a platform called Guardio, which I directly contribute to by forwarding them things that need to be blocked by their service, such as a massive network of crypto scams that were being spammed and propagated underneath my own videos, in another example of dead internet theory. And they're extremely good about blocking pages from scam advertisements, or generally protecting Chrome users from online threats. So if you want a special discount, you can use the link down below to check that out. I'm not directly sponsored by them. I promote them on my own with an affiliate thing because of how good they are, but having also helped make the service better by flagging threats, it felt like a good mention here. Anyway, this problem, the problem of dead internet theory expanding to a point where it's eclipsing actual human content, isn't just isolated to Google or YouTube. It's infecting almost every single major network out there. I won't make the video 6 hours by diving into the AI-plagued realm of Facebook. Your parents are probably absorbed in a bubble of fake content right now, by the way, on that platform. Facebook is like ground zero for it. But even just a couple weeks ago, I covered the pervasive phenomenon on Instagram where AI-generated influencers are stealing videos, replacing the faces of real women, and then re-uploading that content to a brand new profile, with millions upon millions of followers, likes, and views. Sure, some of these examples are worse than others, and sure, not all of them have broken through yet to a mainstream consciousness, but they're about to, because dead internet theory is real, and trust me, you're going to be hearing about it a whole lot more in the future. Fake content is now being made where the majority of interactions are also fake on that content, but that manufactured content is ensnaring a portion of legitimate users, and those users then serve as the profit foundation for a bloated internet ecosystem that increasingly resembles, with striking similarity, the online world that this so-called dead internet theory claims as reality. It is, or at least it's rapidly becoming that way, because the tools that we have at our disposal now allow for one person to produce a never-ending feed of manufactured content that previously would have taken dozens, maybe even hundreds of people to replicate. Much of that content built around simulated human interactions, thereby fulfilling at least half of the dead internet theory's current definition. As the ratio of human-generated content versus synthetic-generated content continues to skew downward in the wrong direction, the problem will become self-reinforcing. If the bots can generate enough content to where Google thinks that the content is now trending, and serves it to real people as a result, the problem will only get worse. And when that content is then populated with fake views, which has been happening for a long time, fake comments, which is happening increasingly as of late, where ChatGPT generates the words, and fake advertising with AI manipulated commercials, we will live in a horribly completed digital circle that fully embodies the term dead internet theory, minus the part about governments doing it deliberately. In my mind, it's happening purely because human beings are greedy. They see the path of least resistance and end up taking it, typically for profit, which means this time, unfortunately, they're choosing AI influencers, advertising, and content generation with increasing frequency using synthetic tools. I guess we'll find out soon whether or not major tech platforms have any actual motivation to stop it, but right now they're benefiting from it. Right now it's just more content and more advertisements being served on more content. So it has to tip really far before the pendulum comes back and it gets bad, because at the moment it's actually kind of a benefit to them. So there's not going to be much effort to stop it. That's it. In my opinion, dead internet theory is very real, and I hope I've made a compelling case for it. There's links down below to support the channel, a special VPN deal, Guardio for Chrome users to protect yourself, merchandise, social media, locals and Patreon, channel memberships, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, question everything, and have a nice night.